Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And I am here today. This is back-to-back nights. We're going to be doing some content here because there's just so much to cover. When I first got the idea to do this, I've always wanted to attempt to do this, but I kind of psyched myself out and was afraid. It's just what would I say? Is anybody going to listen? Is anybody going to watch? And then one day I was just like, yeah, fuck it. I don't care if nobody listens. I don't care if nobody watches. I'm just going to put the content out there anyway because I had something to say. Now I'm learning as I go along with this podcast. Um, I'm still figuring things out, but I always thought, and I always tell my kids, and I tell some of my students, it doesn't matter how you start as long as you start. And that's what I'm doing here. And I think I started at the right time because I started this broadcast. I got the idea, like I said, in about February. I got everything in all my ducks in a row in about March. I think I started broadcasting in April. And it just seems like the madness, I mean, it's always been crazy out there, but it's just been in turbo drive now, with the P Diddy stuff and the government stuff and all this stuff that's going on in the world, in the country, in the state that I live in. It just never seems to stop, and I think that I could come up with content for days. I could do a daily podcast if I really was into this, and I think I am. I like doing this stuff. I like it a lot. It's therapeutic for me. I come back from the gym, I feel great, I feel refreshed, I walk the dog, Reese's happy, I'm happy, and then I sit in front of this microphone and this computer, and I just give a half-hour little rant on what I read about Stoicism and philosophy and how to be a better person. Today, I'm covering an issue that I'm not really familiar with. I'm not a big basketball fan. I am a big sports fan. Soccer, NFL, Major League Baseball, Formula One. I like horse racing too, and I like the martial art sports. But I would never claim to be a basketball fan, like an NBA fan, and I certainly never claim to be a WNBA fan. I don't think I've watched 2 minutes of basketball, of women's basketball in my life. But over the weekend, there seems to have been a tremendous amount of controversy over two players in particular. The first player is the face of the WNBA. Her name is Caitlin Clark. She's a white woman, and she, in some of the clips that I've seen, is for a girl, she's tremendous. She can play, and in a league that is mostly tattooed tattooed up black lesbians, this is a horror show for them. A white woman who comes in, no tats. I've read some things about her. She loves Jesus. She's very committed to God, which is rare for a girl her age in this day and age. She says all the right things. She seems to be a good teammate. She has not made any sort of negative impact outside of the fact that she's a white girl who can play basketball. God forbid a white person can play basketball, right? On the other hand, there is a black girl by the name of Angel Reese. And thus far, she has been anything but. If you look at her content on social media, she appears in bikinis and provocative clothing. Her basketball game, from what I've heard from basketball pundits, is not very good. She's not the best player out there, but she's a black woman. She's in a league of mostly black women, and the media, for some reason, has attached this. protective cocoon around her where they will fight to the death to find any angle, excuse me, to find any angle to support or dumb down or even find an excuse as to her negative behavior. There was one time where her team in college beat Caitlin Clark's team in the NCAA finals, and she pointed to her fingers as if to say, "I got the ring and you don't," which is tasteless, right? That's bush league. Caitlin Clark may be the bigger professional star, which is what people will always remember, because she is without doubt the face of the league. I mean, they were talking about records were broken for this game. And the reason why records were broken because I wanted to see Caitlin Clark. And this is where the evil of envy and jealousy come in. So this weekend, this game happens, and there seems to be a lot of controversy as to what happened during this particular play here, where Clark, I guess she fouls Angel Reese. Now, Angel Reese fouls this girl prior, and I guess Clark wanted to get her back. I want you to pay attention to the commentary, the two white people who are commentating on the events that we're about to see here. This is courtesy of ESPN for informational purposes.
And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese too strong on a three.
And then there's a little foul, and that's
Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say as Clark walks away. We know there are always increased eyeballs, energy, and attention around the matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese is still going after Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was coming. As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and take that foul.
Now, again, I'm not a basketball expert. I'm not going to pretend to be. But let me just get this out of here. But
team goals are one thing and then individual goals.
That this was more of a flop than anything else. And tempers flare as Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese get into it. Now, they did not show you. We saw a first little bit of it of the Angel Reese foul. No one really talked about that. What everybody was talking about was the flagrant foul, and flagrant, I guess, means that this was done maliciously to Angel Reese. Now, the commentators there, Rebecca Lobo, and I don't know who the guy is, nobody cares. They go on and on to say that this is a flagrant foul, no doubt about it, yada, 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 defending Angel Reese, negating and forgetting the fact that Reese had pushed the one player out of the way, and no call was made. So it just goes. Here's the question that I have: How on the level is this? I mean, I can show you clips. I've been doing some research for this podcast today. I was watching some clips of Caitlin Clark and other white WNBA players literally being mugged on the floor, being assaulted by the black players. And this isn't hard fouls like, in the 1990s basketball was a little rougher than it is today. We're not talking about this. We're talking about, getting bumped in the back and getting pushed and tripped and all this stuff. This is dangerous stuff. If the roles were reversed, and I know I always say this, but if the roles were reversed and this was white people going after black players, it would be called racist. There's bigotry, there's this and there's that. Now, supposedly, when Angel Reese when you get a flagrant foul, you get a free throw. She misses, of course, the free throw, and people are booing her. And now the WNBA is investigating whether there was a monkey sound coming from the crowd, which is absolutely ridiculous. How are you going to find a monkey sound coming from a crowd of 10, 12,000 people booing this woman? So what now? Indiana cannot. This is the state that Caitlin Clark plays in. Indiana cannot boo black players now. You know, if you go to Europe, and I remember going to football games in Europe in the 1980s where there were dudes, there were fans. They called them ultras in Italy, where they would have these huge blow up bananas, and anytime a black player would touch the ball, they would, start waving the bananas in the air and start making monkey sounds. Right? I mean, that's terrible, right? But in those days, the players just ignored it. They went on. Now, UEFA, the governing body of all of European football, European club football, they now ban not just those ultra fans. They ban all the fans from going to a game if they find that there's a hint of racism in there. And you have two teams who are going to play in an empty stadium. They're going to play a football match in an empty stadium, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. How are you going to penalize 80,000 people for the actions of 5? Just because one player or 2 players or 3 players says, "Hey man, this is too much for me to handle." This is supposed to be men, strong men, right? Strong black men. This is supposed to be a strong black woman. She can't handle booing. She can handle all the money she's making from those white advertisers. She can handle all that. She has no problem playing in a league that is predominantly of black women that is losing, what, $50-60 million a year? And the only thing that that have people gravitating to this league is this white woman named Caitlin Clark. They're interested in seeing her, and she's good. So it's obvious. It's obvious to anybody that Angel Reese and the rest of the sisters in the league are incredibly jealous of Caitlin Clark and any other white woman that attracts attention in the WNBA. It's clear as day. But what else is obvious? What else is clear as day? Is the defense of Angel Reese by the media, by the referees, by the officials, and by the league itself. I mean, they're letting these people get away with this. And this is your golden ticket. This is your golden goose. Caitlin Clark is the golden goose of the WNBA. She's the only reason why people watch. If she gets hurt and she's out for 6 months, she tears an Achilles or tears her knee up, an ACL, and she's out, no one's watching Angel Reese. No one's watching any of these other chicks out there. I don't even know their names. The only reason why I know this Angel Reese is because she keeps getting into these altercations with this Caitlin Clark. Otherwise, I don't know I don't know anybody else in there. I could care less. I don't know any other white players that are in there. So what the WNBA should do, and not the WNBA, the NBA, who funds and finances the WNBA, what they should be doing is they should be looking into this and saying, hey, within the bounds of our rules, we need to protect this girl, Caitlin Clark. We can't have her getting beat up and punched and attacked and or any of these other white players. This is absurd. But again, we've done something in this country, as we showed it in the podcast that we had last night with the mayor of Chicago. We have done a huge, grave mistake, and that is empowering black women. They are the last people to empower because it gets to their head and they can't control themselves. And when these people are put in charge of any sort of business, school district, political position, anything, they destroy it. We saw that Congresswoman Crockett. She is a disaster on 2 feet. I mean, she's as ghetto as it gets. We see some of these other politicians, these black women who go up on TV and they're screaming for reparations. Where are they going to get this money from? Who's putting these people in there? We talked about Plato, how he didn't think everybody should have the right to vote. I'm almost 100% in favor of that. And if it's only people who are landowners or who are rich, and I'm not one of those people, so be it. I mean, but we cannot have these people. We can't have a majority of these. We can't have a majority of these people in charge of our country in the next 50 years because we won't have a country. Now, my age, well, I'll probably be in the great beyond. But what about my kids? What about my grandkids? Are we really going to leave this country to these people? In 200 years, if there is an America in 200 years, there's going to be historians who are going to look at the 21st century, or at least the first 25, 30 years of the 21st century, and they're going to piss their pants laughing. They're going to wonder, what the hell were white men doing? What were white Christian heterosexual males doing to allow this? I don't know. It just seems to me that there's a conscious effort to make the bottom of the barrel the top tier. And it just goes against nature. And you can call me whatever you want, but it's not working. Look at every city that has a certain people from a certain continent in charge, of a certain gender in charge, and tell me what that city looks like. New York, Newark, Chicago, Philadelphia. Tell me what it looks like. Atlanta. These cities are a disaster. But we continue to put these people in power. They obviously cannot handle the power. They don't know what to do with this power. They don't know how to harness it for good. And they're just destroying the fabric of what made this country a one-time great country. We are no longer that anymore. We have, the only thing this country has is the technology, military technology to bomb the shit out of other countries. But even there, I mean that only goes so far. And there is definitely an evil envy, excuse me, of the black woman towards the white woman. And listen, I get it. If you look at commercials, you look at actresses, you look at television, you look at any mid-white woman, it's not even a contest in looks. It's not even a contest of what a man would want. You look at some girl that from Sweden who's a 5, she'd be a 10. She would be a goddess if you dropped her in the middle of Asia or Africa or in some parts of the United States. So yes, there is envy, and it's apparent. And we have this guy named Ryan Clark. Let me see if I can find his stupid story. This guy was out of his mind when he went after Robert Griffin III, who is married to a white woman, which is that's not the greatest thing either. But Robert Griffin III had scolded Angel Reese, and this guy Ryan Clark was simping for her, simping for Angel Reese, saying that how would Robert Griffin III know what it's like to be a black woman, being that he's married to a white woman. Let me see if I can find you that. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this here. I think we can. I think it was an ESPN. Bear with me for one moment. Yep, I found it right here. Let's see what Ryan has. Robert Griffin here. Well, he's not saying anything that nobody knows. Of course, they dislike her. We've just been talking about that now. Here's Ryan Clark now, responding, I guess, to Robert Griffin III. And if you noticed, he had his little snowflake wife sitting in the background there in that room.
Action is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story.
Right.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations.
So there it is. So of course it's always about with this guy Ryan Clark simping for this Angel Reese, and whoever that other person is. He mentioned another person who's supposed to be the best player in the league. I don't know who she is. I wouldn't, because I don't follow this sport, this league. But obviously, it doesn't matter who the best player is. As he said, it matters who the most important player is. And that is clearly Caitlin Clark. Now, of course, he's saying here that Robert Griffin III can't comment on the experiences of Black women because he's been married to white women. Well, doesn't this guy have a mom? Does RG3 have a sister, aunts, cousins? He can talk to them, can't he? So this is we can get into more of this later, maybe later in the week, because this is a story that probably won't be going away. But as we see here, the media, the liberal media, ESPN is as liberal as it gets, will never go against Angel Reese or any other black woman when it comes to matters that involve white people, white women, white fans who are putting in green money into this league when this league was dying 10 years ago. Nobody was watching black women play basketball. Nobody. They were losing money hand over fist. So the white woman envy is strong, and it's real. And the reason why it's strong and it's real is because white women have the looks, and say what you will, unfortunately, white women marry the top tier black men, the entertainers, the sports guys, all that. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. I'm not a race mixer. I don't believe in it, but it is what it is. And Ryan Clark obviously is upset that RG3 has now 2 snowflake wives. Who this one will divorce him very soon too, and he'll lose most of his money to her as well. And that'll be that with, and he'll just find another white woman who will marry him. But Ryan Clark, who I think has a baby mama, who is not even in the same atmosphere as the woman we saw behind Robert Griffin III, he's probably not happy with that. If you saw what she looked like, you wouldn't be happy with it either. All right, so enough of that. We are going. Well, we went over a lot, and I wanted to go over envy and jealousy and how it can destroy your mind. It can destroy your soul. And as men, we can never succumb to envy. We can never succumb to jealousy. We do fall into the trap if a guy at our job or a career, somebody advances over us, and we feel it's not fair. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's some nepotism involved. Maybe there's some ass kissing. Listen, careers are just like picking up women. It's a bit of a game, and you have to know how to play the game. And there could be jealousy there. You can't fall into it. And we have to examine what envy and jealousy do to you and how to combat this. And we have to also recognize, more importantly, who is jealous of us. So we have to examine the responses to your success. And people's reactions to your success reveal their true feelings. Jealous individuals often display envy, and they can't hide it. They can't hide their discomfort when they see you succeed. Some jealous types may try to undermine your achievements with bullshit claims and criticism. You might even receive a fake congratulations. While these same individuals harbor dissatisfaction and disgust over your advancement, over your evolving, because you developed, you created, you had purpose. This exposes the dark aspects of one's character. Someone who truly cares about you, they respect you, they support you, they'll be happy to see you progress and succeed. Genuinely. They'll understand that each of your achievements is a step forward in your evolving journey. And they may even be inspired by your efforts, and it may inspire them to up their game so they can evolve. That's the important thing. That's why men, when they huddle up, do great things. We inspire each other. Conversely, Those who begrudge you will see your success as a threat, a signal that they are lacking or not putting up the best effort possible. This is usually your minorities and women, and it could be white women too. White women, as I said many, many times, white women are the cancer of Western civilization. I will always, always, always believe that. They've tried to destroy it many, many times. They're coming close. Feminism is close, but I think now there's a turning point now, especially with this younger generation of girls who are coming up who are seeing their single mothers, their single aunts, their single grandmothers in some cases wallowing in despair and just hate. And they don't want that. They don't want to be the career chaser and having a baby at 40 or being the welfare chaser and having a baby at 17. They don't want that. These girls now are starting to say, hey, maybe having a family and having a home and a dog and a fence and 2, 3 kids and a husband who can provide for me ain't so bad. Supporting individuals who share your joy and celebrate your achievements, they'll be happy for you because of the work you put in. Now, again, I wrote the word work in there, but I want to say the habits that advanced you towards your goals. Their feedback is often encouraging, supportive, and free of negativity. Anytime somebody gives you a hint of negativity, even when they're critiquing you positively, which sometimes if somebody's critiquing you and they give you constructive criticism, that's a good thing. But if they throw in a little zinger there, hey, the song you wrote was good, but it was too long. That's jealousy. That's envy. Okay? On the other hand, jealousy or deceitful people will diminish or deny your achievements. This is a very childish thing, and it's something that you cannot stay around. Its negative energy will just plant itself in you like a tick. These same individuals will spread rumors about you. They'll offer criticism or offer to attempt to sabotage your success. They will go behind your back. They will lie. They will cheat. They will steal. They will try to influence the powers that be to knock you off your pedestal. They make subtle criticisms and downplay your accomplishments. They may consider your success as a fluke. Hey, it's a one-time thing. He'll never do it again. They'll deny your efforts. They may even say that you stole their idea. I've seen that happen before. I worked for a major corporation when I was in my mid-20s. Very competitive. One guy that we knew, brilliant, brilliant kid. There was a woman who, she wasn't so brilliant, and she claimed that he stole her idea for this global marketing plan. Now, this guy was smart enough to have his immediate supervisors review this plan as he went along. So she was found out. Did they fire this woman? No. Because once you get a woman in there, it's almost impossible to fire them without you having a wrongful lawsuit coming. So they just scolded her, told her not to do it again, gave her a slap on the wrist, and they went about their business. But this is what happens. So what do you do when you realize somebody in your life is jealous or deceitful? Do you confront them? Or do you keep your distance to protect yourself? Well, according to the Stoics, we must learn to let go of what we can't control. That is a big, big part of Stoicism and in life itself. You cannot allow things beyond your control to affect your life. We have to focus on developing ourselves and building sincere relationships instead of getting caught up in the cycle of jealousy, lies, cheating, and scandal. From there, you can discern a person's honesty, not only by observing how they react to your success, but also how they treat the people of a lower status. And that's the memo. And I hope that helps. So I know we went a little long tonight, and we've been going a little long the last couple of nights. But these are things that we have to watch out for. We have to stick together with. Envy, jealousy, lying, cheating, deceit. These are all things that, if you don't have the right frame of mind, can ruin you and can do something worse than that. It can make you be a participant in the same cancer. You don't want to be a Ryan Clark. You don't want to be the woman I use as an example from the company I used to work for. You don't want to be that person. You're a man. You can't be that. You can't be that. That's female. That's female behavior. Ryan Clark over here, you could tell he was raised by a woman because he's thinking like a bitch. But as we say every time during this moment in time of the podcast, I want to thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Gentlemen, be careful out there. My friend Satan is working overtime. And I think he's tired because he's always busy, but now he's working overtime. And this dude must be tired because this world is just in flames. It's almost in flames. But be a man. Have a backbone. Because masculinity and common sense are worth standing for.